Hey everybody, and welcome to Mike's Top 10 Songs from Persona 5. And yes, I know, I'm pretty far behind on this, but it's been about a year since this game released and I really wanted to revisit this conversation, since this game had some incredible pieces of music. This game quickly became one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, so I had to talk about it at least once. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Oh, and one other thing, this is going to have massive spoilers, since many of these pieces derive their strength from the story that is going on while it plays, so I will be discussing these cutscenes. And yes, this does include end-of-game spoilers. You have been warned. As you're going to learn as this list progresses, many of these songs are picked not just because they sound amazing, but because of the emotion they carry in the situations they're played. Arc is the song that plays when you enter the final palace of the game to take on Shido, the big bad villain that has not only caused all the mental breakdowns, but that got you falsely accused and placed on probation in the first place. The song conveys a sense of significance and importance, but also a sense of power, since you have finally gained the advantage on your enemy. For the final palace of the game, outside of Mementos, this song was perfect. Layer Cake is without a doubt my favorite shop theme in the game. The Clinics theme was high on my list as well, barely missing the top 10, but I love the smoothness of this piece. This song plays when you enter the Airsoft shop to buy weapons, a store with an owner that isn't the friendliest guy. This song just feels mature, and something about it feels almost intimidating, similar to Hawaii. It's a cool, tough piece of music that demonstrates you're in a shop you really shouldn't be in. It has a very too cool for school vibe that I really enjoy, which is why this song took number 9 on my list. So Shido's Palace has a great theme, as we discussed, but it doesn't make me want to just get up and dance the way that Whims of Fate does. This song plays in Sae's Palace, which is modeled after a casino, so this fun and upbeat tune fits the environment perfectly. Many of the songs I like from this game are on the sadder or more intense side, but this song is an uplifting song and one of my favorite palace themes out there. This palace is a rich area filled with high rollers and successful business people, so a song about temptation and luxury fits perfectly. A song about risking it all and winning or losing fits the theme of this palace, and also the game, so perfectly. Unlike the last few songs, this track carries a heavy-hearted vibe that can bring any man to tears. This is the track that plays when Futaba is finally confident enough to face the truth of her mother's death, as well as when she gains her persona. Watching Futaba come out of her shell and embrace her pain was beautiful and surreal, and this song emphasized how powerful of a moment it was for her. I have always been a fan of sadder, more mellow tunes, and this one fits the bill perfectly. The feeling of sadness of watching her learn the truth of her mother's death, mixed with the feeling of happiness of Futaba's willingness to fight back, are both captured in this piece, and I could not have asked for a better song to go along with this momentous cutscene. In may have just been me, but watching the change of hearts unfold after the boss fights was always bittersweet. Many of the bosses were guilty of horrid crimes such as sexual assault, murder, thievery, or extortion, and watching them break down from the overwhelming guilt after changing their hearts was both satisfying and hard to watch. This song does a wonderful job of capturing how the bad guys must feel as they come to terms with the horrible things they have done. While their acts are unforgivable, many of them carry sad backstories that led to their hearts becoming distorted. And while it's always nice seeing a villain get taken down, you can't help but feel pity for them. Watching the villains become overwhelmed with shame and self-hatred for their actions was another moment where you aren't quite sure how to feel. This song planted that feeling of pity right into my heart. Yeah, okay, I'm putting this at number 5, but this is by far and away the most iconic song from the entire game, and I can listen to this on repeat over and over and over again. In fact, I'd go so far as to say this is my favorite vocalized random encounter fight music of all time. The lyrics are cool and smooth, and capture just how badass you really are when you enter the different palaces. I used to delay some of these battles just so I could sit and listen to this track. Your heroes are just happy-go-lucky high school kids that are more than willing to embrace the role of fighting off evil in the world. And Last Surprise is the perfect theme song for our band of Phantom Thieves. Beneath the Mask is a great song, but I want to put the rainy version here instead. Mostly because I'm just biased and love rainy weather. This track is a lot more mellow and chill than the original version, and is honestly one of the more laid-back tunes in the entire game. You spend a lot of time fighting enemies in palaces and mementos, but you also spend a good chunk of it studying in the library or working at the local cafe. This song lies in stark contrast to the last few we saw on this list, and does an excellent job of showing what truly does live beneath the mask. The rain and thunder in the background is also very calming, and adds to an already wonderful piece.
Atlus masquerade, hiding both face and mind.
This song plays for all except a few boss fights, but let's just go with the Kamoshida fight, since it's the first time you hear this song play. Many of the boss fights you encounter are against men and women who, in the real world, are practically untouchable, with seemingly limitless power that allows them to get away with whatever they want. Yet with the power of your persona, you can steal their hearts and break them down Phantom Thief style. This tune is high-paced, strong, and powerful. It gives off a feeling of resilience that you can overcome and take on the enemy, regardless of how strong they are. It starts out with an overwhelming verse that leads into an uplifting and optimistic piece, one that gives you the belief and strength to persevere against any boss you face. Sure, Last Surprise is great, but Blooming Villain captures the strength of your enemies and your ability to overcome them. Willpower, the song that starts up as soon as any of your characters finally get their persona. Each of the awakening cutscenes involves some sort of crossroad where the person of interest has to overcome their fears and reluctance to help their friends. Whether it's Yusuke coming to terms with the cruelty of his teacher, or Haru finally deciding that she doesn't have to serve her father any longer, each of these scenes harbors an emotional message. And this song carries that emotion of rebelliousness that they each develop. The strength to fight against everything you know is hard to find, but each of these characters does that. Willpower, like many of the songs on my list, is a song of determination, and each character except for Futaba has their turning point with this song playing in the background. These cutscenes wouldn't be nearly as fun and intense without this piece. As great as this one is, there was just one other song that I would have to put ahead of this one. You probably play about 90 hours of this game before you ever hear the song, as it only shows up during the final few boss fights, but man is it worth the wait. Blooming Villain is a great boss theme, and you become so used to hearing it, so when Rivers in the Desert plays, it probably catches you a bit off guard. But boy, does it not disappoint you. At this point of the game, the Phantom Thieves are limited on time, and their situation becomes one of sheer desperation. The lyrics discuss the long and difficult journey that you've been on, whether it's referencing the bosses of fear and greed, or the fact that you're finally ready to end it all. Each line in this song is powerful, and if I wanted to, I would love to dive into each line and talk about what it means to me and how I think it relates to the overall story. Instead, let's just talk about how much more intense it makes these boss fights. This game is an incredible journey, and this song captures the fun, upbeat atmosphere of this game while also showing just how intense the journey has been. So thanks everybody for watching. Let me know what you thought of this list, and if there's any songs that I did not include that you would have put on this list, let me know. I'm curious what you guys think of this game's soundtrack. And if there's any other games you'd like to see covered, let us know in the comment section below. Hope to see you all around.